And you have just crossed the line. End of debate. Report to the cargo bay and remain there until this is over. Is that understood?
So, Matinga, any shaving accidents this week we should know about?
This week, actually, this week I didn't even bother to shave.
Clearly.
I think it looks all right.
Are you chafing from it? Oh, you mean your face?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. We were talking about coffee. Dan doesn't drink coffee. I love coffee.
So, well, something interesting that people always gag about for me is that I don't like chocolate. Not a fan of chocolate at all. Yeah,
hey,
and I know that people
be nice.
People. No, listen. I love me. A Caribbean boy, a rude boy. I loves me a rude boy.
A botsy boy?
I'm the botsy boy, but I'm not a fan of chocolate. I'm just I don't
white
like
chocolate, dark chocolate, milk
white chocolate. How you know my street name?
I mean, white chocolate, like in a pinch, like every once in a great while. But when I snack, it's sour, salty.
Right.
Oh, I didn't know you could self-fillet.
Lord knows. How do you think I've gotten through quarantine?
Do you know who loves coffee? Captain Janeway.
She does.
Yes, she does.
Oh my God.
All about that coffee. Do you know what I was wondering, guys? Oh, hi, listeners. This is Fire Chakotay, the most essential Star Trek podcast in the universe. I am Mike Diamond.
This is Miss Matinga.
This is Booby.
And special returning guest host,
Dan Deevy.
Dan Deevy of Gaaays in Space.
Gaaays in Space.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Dan, if you ever had like a more, let's say, adult version of your group, could it be Pigs in Space?
I'd have to talk to Jim Henson's ghost to get the
True.
But I think we could make it happen.
Like for the rated, R to, PG-17 version.
Or let's just say, for Star Trek porn. Because there's
exactly
Star Trek porn out there. Yeah. And that would be full circle. Pigs in space led to gays in space, led to pigs in space.
So you could call it like pig play in space.
Yeah.
The question is, which actual Trek actors would show up for that? My money is on
The Ferengi.
Any of the Ferengi, right?
Any of the Ferengi.
Rolaren and Will Wheaton, and that's it.
Yeah, not because Michelle Forbes needs a gig because she's working all the time, but I hear she's just really into porn.
Yeah.
You heard that too, huh?
Did you see her when she was on True Blood?
She was awesome.
Oh
on True
my
Blood.
God!
Oh, so good.
Who was she on True Blood?
She played the
Maynard.
The Maynard
on the second season,
and she was with that fine guy named Eggs. And Tara was into Eggs.
No, Tara was with Eggs.
Yeah, but Eggs was with the Maynard. I mean, with her, like, her little, helper.
Right.
Yeah, but everybody was with the Maynard.
Huh? What, Dan?
No, I was saying, didn't she sleep with all of them?
Yep.
Yeah.
Eventually, but Eggs seemed very under her sway. Honey, she scrambled those eggs.
By the end, he was fried eggs.
Oh, he really was. What a great show True Blood was.
Yeah, it really was. Until about season 4.
I was down the whole time.
So was
I was also down the whole time. Also read all the books, and the books are similar but different enough to be worth a read.
Just so many sexy vampires. Yum.
Is there more
werewolves.
gay in the books?
Say it again?
Is there more gay in the books? Like, did they gay it up even more in the books?
There's gay. There's definitely a gay sensibility. There's about as much, maybe a smidgen more of gay. I mean, the central character is Sookie. It's all about Sookie.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Sookie. Yeah, but there's that fierce gay queen, though, that Lafayette, yes, super gay. But isn't there like another queen that eats a newscaster in season 5, like on the air?
Yes. That he played Elizabeth Taylor on American Horror Story. I love that actor.
Was it that? It's
that actor.
Yes.
He's an incredible actor.
And he attacks a newscaster on the air because she's a cunt. Right.
But mind you, I want to say that first of all, Lafayette dies at the end of the first book and is not a character in the True Blood books, the Sookie Stackhouse novels.
Right.
And also, he was white. He was gay,
Oh.
but he was white, and Tara was white in the books as well.
Huh.
Well, good for them for colorblind casting because they're just people. Hello.
Yeah.
Work.
I
Okay.
could totally watch it again.
Well,
yes.
we are going to watch it again because after we finish Star Trek Voyager Fire Chakotay podcast, and then after our Facts of Life podcast.
Stop trying to make that Facts of Life podcast,
Happen.
girl.
Dan, you in for a Facts
yeah.
Trying to make it work like fetch.
You know what, Matinga? You ain't got get out of Eastland, girl. You ain't got to be in the academy.
A podcast by the three of you and only for the three of you.
You know what, Matinga? You're like one of those season 1 Facts of Life, girl. You out.
Listen,
You out, Cindy.
Miss Honey, one of the season 1 girls was Molly Ringwald, who went on to a lovely career.
That's
See,
right.
that'd be a good factoid for a podcast, but you're not interested. But getting back,
girls,
please. A good cook cleans as she goes.
But this podcast is about Star Trek Voyager.
And the question, we ended with a cliffhanger last week where we did Basics Part 1. Basics Part 2, the question is, will Janeway find coffee on this planet?
Honey, she's going to have to turn somebody into coffee.
Oh, Hogan.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Why doesn't someone do a recap of where we left off?
More like Hoagie.
All right.
Shoot.
All right, sass mouth Matinga. Give us a recap.
So as we open up season 3, episode 1 of Star Trek Voyager, we find the beleaguered crew of our favorite starship just absolutely stranded on some geologically unstable planet after a big fail to defeat the Kazon and losing their starship to the Kazon. And, poor Ensign Wildman gasping, Naomi Wildman not doing very, very well. And basically where we left off is where we pick up. They are looking for food and water and shelter.
So the Kazon, including evil Seska, has snatched Voyager, and they've left the crew on this planet.
Not all the crew.
Not all the crew.
Not all the crew.
But Seska has dashed with supposedly Chakotay's baby and the burnt matchstick Kazon people.
Yes.
And left the crew on this planet. But on the ship, the Doctor's in hiding. Brad Dourif is in hiding. And Tom Paris is off in a shuttle somewhere. But when we find the crew, they're on this dry-ass planet, and Janeway snaps to attention to get it together. She's like, y'all, we got to survive. Dan, take it.
So, she gets right to it. They find shelter, and they send the crew out to search for, everything that they can possibly find, a tool or a weapon, things like that. Unfortunately, poor Neelix is in charge of one of the groups, and he thinks it's a great idea for Hogan to gather up a bunch of bones sitting at the entrance to a deep, dark, scary cave.
Yeah.
And Hogan is like, really? Like, what are we going to do with a rib cage? Is that really a tool? But he's like, okay, sir, I'll do it. And then out of nowhere, and we have to say goodbye to Hogan, who, for me, he was one of my favorite, like, ancillary characters. Like, I had always hoped that because they're stuck out there in the Delta Quadrant, that the background cast members would have been the same, and they could have had continuing stories with those characters. But mostly it was random, crew member of the week in the background, except for people like Hogan, who actually had some stuff to do. And plus, he was adorable. Wasn't he just...
He was super cute, and he was my second favorite ancillary character after Harry Kim.
Hogan was kind of like their busted. It was kind of like their busted up Cole Meany.
A little.
Yeah.
But there's another one named Ayala that pops up once in a while.
Ensign Ayala. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
Who's the Vulcan that was in love with B'Elanna?
Vorik. You were thinking of Vorik. Yeah.
All right, Gays in Space, come through. So I have a question about Neelix and Hogan, that scene when Neelix instructs him to gather the bones to survive. Why is Hogan taking orders from the fucking rabbit fry cook?
Because Neelix is in charge of that particular group.
Of the Delta Quadrant, of the
What are these amazing survival skills he supposedly has?
he's a cook.
He's
And
a
he's
cook?
thin.
And he's thin, darling.
Well, not that thin.
But so poor Hogan, some creature comes out of the cave, boom, makes Hogan is a hoagie, exactly.
Yeah, Hogan was not a hero.
He was not. So Janeway, of course, is gagging at the news, but Chakotay's like, I'm gonna turn his outfit into a solar panel.
Right.
Somehow. How are you going to turn his outfit into a solar panel?
That says a lot about the material.
Yeah.
How would that work? Like, I didn't get that.
Maybe it's like the outfits are made of fiberglass or something. Although, actually, Chakotay, what technology are you going to use?
You mean Tuvok?
No, it was
Chakotay.
Chakotay.
Which one is it?
It was Chakotay. Yeah. Not all ethnics look alike, Matinga.
I was going to say that Tuvok, so resourceful, helping Souter regain his humanity, helping Kes control her psychic abilities. He can fashion, a bow and arrow and spears. I mean, Miss Tuvok, honey, Tim Russ.
Don't sleep on him.
Don't sleep on Tuvok.
He could do a mean number from Dreamgirls.
Honey, he join us. Na 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 from
Tim
the reunion.
Tim Russ turned me out with that. He really did.
He turned me out. He sealed the reunion with that song.
He sealed the deal.
And like he was genuinely good. Yeah.
He was really good.
It was good.
You know what surprised me is that so many cast members of Voyager were stage actors. I didn't really think about it, but it makes perfect sense.
I gagged that Roxanne Biggs Dawson played Diana
Morales
in a chorus line. That was just, and I must have seen her because she says that she played Diana for 6 years and then went away, but then she came back for the last 6 performances.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the third to the last performance of a chorus line of the original run. So I must have seen her as Diana. I just didn't know who she was.
She's so great. But knowing that about her, now I'm watching the episodes, like, she really is rather acrobatic. She knows how to move. Like, because B'Elanna's jumping around engineering, doing this, that, and the other. She's a very, very flexible woman. Yes.
Also, I do want to say that while, Chakotay can't start the fire and then has the idea about taking little bits of hair from all the girls. And so, the captain and some other young lady gives some hair. But you notice that B'Elanna is like, nobody is touching my weave. Mm-hmm. And that is so, like, African-American girls are like, don't touch my hair. Don't touch my hair.
Question.
Yeah.
In the series, does B'Elanna, the actress Roxanne, what's her name?
Roxanne Biggs Torres.
Does she? Is she ever pregnant?
Roxanne Biggs Dawson. Sorry.
Dawson. Is she ever pregnant?
Yes.
Yeah.
She
is. There's a season that I'm watching now, season 4, where they won't show below her neck.
But she's got those severe A-line uniforms.
Right. Oh, and I was like, I think she's pregnant, Bob.
She was pregnant in real life.
Yeah.
Pregnant in real life. Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, she was pregnant twice. And the first time she was pregnant, they said, let's hide this beneath an engineering version of Dr. Crusher's lab coat, which is what hit it when Gates was pregnant. But then later on in the series, they have her pregnant, even though she's not pregnant. Mm-hmm. And I just found that to be an odd choice. Like,
the timing is weird.
Very weird. When Nana Visitor was pregnant during Deep Space Nine, they were brilliant in how they incorporated that into the storyline. Yeah. Because they didn't want to lose the opportunities of having Nana really involved in, what's happening in the story. And, those guys were just like, we're not going to hide her behind, there's not going to suddenly be a Bajoran lab coat that she's going to wear.
Or for some reason, Kira's like always behind a computer monitor or like carrying a piece of luggage. For some reason.
She carried Keiko's baby.
She's carrying Keiko's baby. But I have to say though, like towards the 8th month and like can we take her out of the cat suit and put her in a caftan, please? She was like, Girl, like I was like, no, no,
Nun- na.
no.
Well, and circling back to B'Elanna for a second, her name was Roxanne Biggs Dawson, but it's Roxanne Dawson. Was she married to Casey Biggs? Am I getting this correct? Who
Yes.
played
Wow.
Damar?
Yeah.
Damar.
Played who?
I love Damar.
Damar from Deep Space Nine.
From Deep Space
Oh,
Nine.
Which I haven't seen.
We got to get you into Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
It's actually the deepest of the stories. It's
I
so
gave up
good.
after the first episode. I to be honest, and I didn't give it any.
You got to hang in there till Cisco shaves his head, honey.
It's like a socio-political religious
Quasi-religious
drama
with Louise Fletcher.
And it's deep. Oh, with Louise Fletcher as the most shady Vedic of all. She was a Vedic, right?
She was Kai.
Yeah.
She was a Kai.
She started as a Vedic.
Oh, she's a Kai, yeah. But I always remember there's a scene where she would occasionally touch you to get like a feeling of who you were.
Your
so
pa.
So she touches Kira, and Kira says, we're a lot alike, and she's just like, we're nothing alike.
We're nothing alike, my child. So
but it's like
condescending.
so cutting, but she gets it so good.
Somebody tried to touch my pa once. I said, stand back, bitch. That's my job.
You're like, yo, that's my dad.
That's my pa, yo. But so getting
one night after the Sound
Voyager.
Factory, you had lost so much fluid, you looked like a pa ray. Girl, you had turned green.
I truly did, honey. I did not walk with the prophets. I was
You were
walking.
not walking.
I was
Honey,
walking
we're
with the
walking 8th
hookers.
Avenue Trust. Yes.
Walk with the prophets up West Side Highway. Shit. Walking for profit.
You're working for profit. Exactly.
Back to Star Trek Voyager. So they're on this dusty seismic planet. Hogan is dead. They're cutting off people's hair to make fire, although not B'Elanna or Neelix, who has an ugly ass rat tail.
Who should have been
burned as kindling. And Janeway,
No.
she kind of snaps to it like, we're going to survive. And she picks up a rock and there's these like mealworms, grubs.
Underneath.
And she's like, y'all are going to eat this. And if anyone has complaint, that's a captain's orders.
If anyone balks at eating these, tell them it's an order from their captain. They may be the difference between life and death.
Okay.
But she doesn't eat it, though.
We just don't see her eat it, but maybe she does.
Yeah, maybe she doesn't.
And they go looking for.
I noticed that on this most recent viewing too, where she, very declaratively says, if anybody balks at eating these, tell them it's an order from the captain. Now here, please take these away.
Yeah, exactly. Like
And shows the person who takes them like.
I'm so full.
It would have been so much more powerful if right after that statement she just
snarfed it down.
She was like, I'm good right now, thank you.
She's like, you guys eat these worms. I'm having pecan pie.
Leola root.
But honey, they're gonna survive. They're looking for shelter. Chakotay, what does he call himself? The only Indian that can't start a fire, for whatever reason.
Yeah, why is it that I know it was the 90s, but why did Star Trek refer to Native Americans as Indians? In the 24th century, shouldn't they have
way beyond?
It was already considered, impolite at its best to refer to Native Americans as Indians. But so I don't understand why Star Trek did that. Why not just say Native Americans?
Well, maybe like the word circles back, like, how people like reclaim things like queer, like maybe, the language just kind of circled around and back and around, but who knows?
But even queer, like the kids now are kind of like, well, queer doesn't say anything to me. So even queer isn't like that blanket statement that it used to be either. It is an odd faux pas, but it's also, it's not really the 25th century. It's like 1993. They're doing the best they can. They're working like 18-hour days, 7 days a week.
Right.
Kate isn't speaking to Jerry Ryan,
especially because she's not on the show yet.
Oh, right. Exactly. Harry's like blowing the grip. I mean, it's, you got to give them a little leeway, a little slack.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, back on Voyager.
Yes.
Seska makes a visit to sickbay with her baby, because she's so maternal. And she activates the emergency medical hologram, the doctor.
Who was activated already, actually.
Right. It's time for the activator. And they have a really entertaining and snatchy exchange.
Yes.
It's two snatchy queens coming for each other.
Right.
Mhm.
And it's a draw. It's a draw.
Right. They both know the other one is full of shit.
Yep.
She's like, are you programmed to lie? And he's like, one humanoid is just like another. But then he also spooks that is not Chakotay's baby.
Yes.
Right. And proves it to her.
Right. It's like, this doesn't have any Indian DNA.
Well, you know what it was is that she, she thought, oh, my baby's got good hair. He's got to be Chakotay's. He must be.
Because that Kazon, hell no.
You say, oh, yeah.
Uh-uh. Although Seska's got nice hair too.
Well,
But
Maybe the Kazon hair, it's like a recessive gene, and when the kid turns 5, it's gonna go poof.
it
So
goes off like a match.
So the baby's actually Maj Kala's baby,
correct.
not Chakotay's baby. So she deactivates him because he spooked her. He clocked her lies, and Souter, Miss Mildred, is still
Mildred
running
Souter.
around the ship,
Waiting to come out of that cupboard.
coming out of
Yeah.
that cupboard, and the
With his
doctor's like,
crazy eyes.
with his crazy eyes, but he's in contact with the doctor.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, yo, Millie, where you at?
And the doctor reactivates himself. So clearly the doctor has learned the trick of reactivating himself.
It's such an interesting point for the doctor's character because the last time Seska saw the doctor and interacted with him was the end of season 1, right? Because she's exposed. She's exposed pretty early on as a Cardassian and leaves with the Kazon.
Right.
So she's encountering him, thinking of him as he was, 2 years or, a year plus prior. When in fact, the doctor is a completely different character now because he's grown so much and has become an actual person, instead of just this program that she was used to. And it was so interesting to see how quickly the doctor could go right back to that and be like, all right, I remember the dance. I'll do the dance for you, okay? Please state the nature of the matter, even though he's so much more than that at this point.
And they're both so arch. They're so arch.
Yeah. But she's trying to figure out, is he deeper? Mm-hmm. Has he grown? And he's able to just kind of hold the line and convince her that he's still just a simple program. Not a simple program, but the program he used to be.
Yeah. But meanwhile, Souter and he are plotting.
Conniving.
They're conniving.
Right.
To somehow take back the ship. And
using
Souter,
some kind of radiation to...
Thoron
radiation to mess up their systems. And also the doctor wipes Souter's biosignature from the ship so they can't tell if he's there, and they start plotting.
Right.
Meanwhile, Paris has indeed survived. And I do want to say that Paris is all sweaty with a little dirt on his face, and his hair is a beautiful strawberry blonde, and I would do it.
You better step off of my man, honey.
Looking sexy, even like dirty. He's looking kind of sexier. Like he's looking a little
Y'all
like
can have him.
looking good, looking so good. But he gets to the Talaxians. We'll return to that later.
I just want to stay on that point for a second. I claimed Tom Paris as mine at the jump of this podcast series. Matinga, if you want Chakotay's dad, who you seem so fixated on last week, you could have him.
Girl,
and then we have it all sorted. We have it sorted out, darling.
We can Instagram Robbie right now and send him pictures of the both of us, and I think he'll send us both cease and desist orders and be like, look, you two homos, leave me alone.
Cease and desist.
What are you talking about?
How about sis and persist, darling?
Honey.
I'm gonna get me a piece. I'm gonna get me a piece of Miss Robert Duncan.
What does he look like now?
Fine.
Really?
A little older, a little heavier.
It's
cute.
25 years later.
Cute.
Well, he's a director now. He's,
I'll take direction from him
anymore. So once you become a director, you don't have to go to the gym. You can,
exactly.
use that Stairmaster in your bedroom for what it's for, which is hanging clothes on.
Right. Or just throwing a cheap prostitute onto it and having your way with them.
So I do have a chance.
Right.
Okay. So Tom is on the shuttle talking to the Talaxians, whose names I
Yes.
guess all have to have an X in them, because he's talking to whatever that guy's
Oh,
name
right.
is.
Commander Paxum. Paxum.
Right,
Yeah,
Commander
you're right. I
Paxel.
think they all do have an X in there. I never noticed
Yes, because what is Neelix's sister's name? She also has an X in her name.
Alexia
Alexia.
or something like that.
Alexia
like that.
Dupree from the House of Escada or some. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So what's happening with Tom and the Talaxians? They're planning a attack on the Kazon to take back Voyager.
Right.
Yeah. But not before the Talaxians remind Tom Paris that it's Voyager and a bunch of Talaxian ships and one shuttle. And they're like, listen, we'd love to help you guys out. You know, we love you, but we can't take on Voyager. Are you out of your mind? And so then Tom just lies. He's like, oh, come on. I know exactly how to do this. You know, I got a plan. Don't worry about it. And then after he hangs up, he's like, I guess I have an hour to come up with a plan. It's kind of like, wow, Tom, way to, gamble with people's lives.
He shoots from the hip.
Yeah.
He could also shoot it all over my face.
Oh,
But you know what? They're all shooting from the hip.
I have to be who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. They're all like, okay, we're stranded on this planet, so let's just like forge some weapons. We're stuck on the other side of the universe.
And there's those people running around that planet.
Yeah, that look kind of like primitive Kazon.
A little bit.
To me,
better
they look a
hair.
little bit-
Better hair.
Better hair, Miss Booby. That is so true. Better by degrees, but better hair.
Yes.
Like you could do something with that hair.
Right. You could rat it.
Yeah, you could do something.
Or maybe like, little twists.
Right. Mariah
so-
Carey.
So they're not prelingual. They have their own primitive, in quotes, language that they understand.
Right.
But the Federation doesn't understand. They don't have a universal translator anymore, which does beg the question, how are people understanding each other on that planet? How is an Okwampan speaking English? And how is a Talaxian understanding Vulcan?
You must suspend your disbelief, darling.
Right. Maybe at that point, both Cass and Neelix have just learned Federation Standard.
Yeah, okay, I'll accept that.
Well, there was also in one of the DS9, the episode of DS9, when it turns out that Quark, Rom, and Nog are the Roswell aliens. When they end up on the planet, Quark says that his universal translator is in his ear, so it's like implanted.
Oh.
So I wonder if that's just a Ferengi thing, or if Starfleet does that too.
Let's
So
go
it might
with
just
that.
be in there.
Let's go with that. I like that
Makes
idea,
sense.
actually. Yeah. So they understand each other, but since they haven't encountered these particular aliens, they're not in the system yet.
Right.
Okay.
But once again, I just want to point out, like something you said the last time, was that right before we all evacuate the ship, couldn't someone have beamed some supplies like a couple kilometers away? Some translators, some food, some something like this highly trained, highly skilled crew couldn't have just
Prepared.
thought of some. Yeah. No.
They're under attack. I mean, literally at gunpoint.
I don't. Maybe to call me Puerto Rican, but I would have been like
Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican. I would have snuck off to some like quiet transporter room and sent like a bunch of stuff to like a couple
Arroz con
kilometers
gandules.
away. Some arroz con gandules, some piraguas. I would have been like, and then and like just when Janeway was gagging, I would have been like, so look, Catherine, I beamed some shit over this way, and I didn't ask for permission, and I think you're probably gonna be okay with it, right?
Right.
You want some?
Or you
just
want to
eat your worms.
You
Eat your
eat
worms.
Or you could just have those worms.
have your grubs, girl.
If anyone balks at eating these, tell them it's an order from their captain.
Now, meanwhile, I want to say Naomi Wildman is getting worse.
Because she's
sick,
carrying around Naomi Wildman is the baby.
Is the baby, yeah,
Right.
and the baby's getting worse. Like the baby's getting sick. She has a fever. So it's hard scrabble. They are encountering difficulties.
And it's been like 8 minutes on the planet.
Also, Kes and Neelix right away get kidnapped by these primitive Kazon.
When that happens, did anyone else physically jump? Because it is for me, it plays as such an unexpected kind of scary zoom out of nowhere, and they just snatch her and grab her away. That for me was the the most like horror movie type reaction in all of Star Trek because it actually scared me. Normally I can see stuff like that coming, but that was.
Well, they were scary.
Yeah. It's Kess. It's when they take Kess. Yeah, it's like a
'Cause,
little horror beat.
Because it's Kess, sweet little Kess. You don't want anything to happen to her.
Who talks like this.
Who talks like this.
Yeah, but also Kess intuits that Neelix might be in danger. Like Neelix goes out because he's looking for firewood or something, and then Kess actually she kind of looks up and she's like, my boyfriend is a total boob,
Right.
and let me go outside and make sure he's okay.
Oh, well, also she does have a little telepathy, action.
She does, yeah.
Senses things.
She must have thought that he was going back to that cave for the leftover bones that Hogan didn't collect. Like, did anybody go back and get the damn things that he died for?
Those useless bones.
Speaking
of
if
useless
only they had a
bones,
rib cage, they would have been fine.
like, what were they going to do with that shit? Like, I guess you
could...
Make clubs. Girl, ain't nobody got no time to go to no club. So they're captured by these primitives who they are scary looking, Dan. So I know what you mean about they were a little creepy. Also, that particular setup had like a very original series vibe to me. Like they're in the rocks with these clearly people in costumes. It felt very TOS to me, the whole setup with the primitive peoples. And at some point, the primitive peoples, they want Kess, okay? They want to take her as a concubine or a slave. And they offer up one of they ratty primitive bitches in exchange.
Right.
And she's, poor thing, she is rather ratty. And when Chakotay, like she kind of like goes into under Chakotay's arm and she kind of looks up at Chakotay and she's like, I lucked out.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right. That's an upgrade. That's such an upgrade.
Yeah. And Chakotay just kind of takes her shoulders and he's like, no,
thank you
need to stay.
He's like, y'all need to rinse your bitch off.
Yeah. And Chakotay, like, no weapons, no nothing. He's like, I'm just going to talk to these primitives in a very quiet voice.
Listen,
like,
understand the tone of my voice.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm with Tuvok. I'm like, sometimes the savages want to savage you.
Right. But he's like, listen to the sound of my voice. Does she do anal? And it's like, wow, I guess there's sex trafficking.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, by the way, she definitely did anal. Definitely.
But I don't think she did it right, honey, because she looked so up. Or maybe she did it so right that she looked so up.
That's why she looks like that. I mean, honey, some fierce anal, and you come out the other side looking just like that for like a day. Yeah.
Like I looked on Wikipedia, honey. That species is called after anals. That they're not primitive Kazons. They're their own thing.
Catch me on like a Monday after Pride.
Yeah.
And I'm looking very similar to that.
Yes, girl. And you forget how to speak Federation Standard. You're just like,
I'm just like.
So Chakotay's like, nah, boo, it's a no. It's a no. But then he says to Kess, walk away slowly.
Let's walk away.
Don't turn around.
Don't turn around. They'll snatch your wig. Keep going.
Let's walk away, Renee.
And Chakotay and Neelix, useless, stupid Neelix, and Kess, they just sort of walk away from these people. Oh, no. The primitives come after them, but there's a whole other crew of Federation folks up on a hill, right?
Right. Yes.
With spears?
Well, no. So he's like, let's walk away, and then they start chasing them, and they chase them into that cave with the dragon-type creature, which I have to say was some very unconvincing digital effects for me. And they try and like get them out of the cave with smoke, but by this point, Catherine, as we're on a first name basis, Kathy has figured out, listen, they're taking too long, let's go look for them. So they're on like the cliff throwing spears down to try and save Chakotay and the rest of them. And they're in the cave trying to get past the dragon creature. And they do. They get past. Catherine intercedes and gets them out of the cave.
One of the crew members dies in that cave.
I thought so. I kept on trying to see if the monster ate him or not.
It did eat him.
But he wasn't there anymore, so I guess the monster ate him.
Yeah. I mean, like, the design was cute. The execution was...
Because it wasn't
that bad. You gotta cut him some slack.
It was
cut him a little bit of
CGI.
snack, yeah.
I mean, if you
Cheap
compare it
CGI.
to the worm creature in Rise of Skywalker, that garbage movie, of course, there's no comparison because it's
Right.
25 years later, CGI has advanced so much.
Now, mind you, back on Voyager, there's a little subplot where, just the Doctor and Souter are on the ship, and they have to retake the ship. And now, remember, Souter is trying to get over being a
His violent tendencies.
cold-blooded killer. Yeah. And he now has to kill in the name of getting Voyager back. And it does indeed destroy him. It starts to destroy him.
I'm gonna have to kill some of them. It is possible. Violence might be required to retake the ship. I've worked so hard over the last few months to control the violent feelings. I'm almost at peace with myself. I mean, I see the day coming when I could be. Mr. Souter, if Lieutenant Tuvok were here, I know he would tell you there are times when violence is required to defend yourself, to defend your ship, to defend your crew. Yes, there is a logical use for violence for everyone else. With me, once it begins... We must do this together, Mr. Souter. If you don't trust yourself yet, then trust me, I will help you any way I can. One hologram and one sociopath may not be much of a match for the Kazon, but we'll have to do.
And it's really, I gotta say that Brad Dourif, he gives a really poignant performance in just a few scenes with a few lines, but you really do get that arc of Souter realizing, I'm gonna have to throw away my humanity and my soul
Again.
to save this crew. And he does make the ultimate sacrifice.
But he's been wanting to redeem himself since the previous episode.
Yeah.
So,
And surprisingly, it turns out that, because if you remember in that episode, Janeway walks out because he gets a little too, he goes a little too far, gets a little too aggressive, and the captain is not having it. But it's so interesting that the truth is, all he wanted to do was help. He was being honest. And the way that I've always kind of looked at that character in that situation, it's as though he's someone who is like 8 months sober. And now he has no choice but to start doing shots. And he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to give up all the progress that he's made. And, feeling somewhat at peace with himself for the first time. But he has no choice because he has to help this crew that has sentenced him to live in those quarters by himself forever.
Yeah.
It's really kind of amazing the strength of character that guy shows, especially considering the fact that we met him as a murderer.
And in the hands of a lesser actor, you might not get that arch because he doesn't talk a lot. It's a lot of, you're seeing the pain in his eyes. And Brad Dourif, with given very little on the page, really brings that to life. And I do want to say, like, the Doctor, kind of like, I know you're suffering. I know it's just do it. You got to kill people. Just do it. Like, the Doctor has very, like...
Do it.
He's like, do it. The Doctor, like, he's got a bedside manner, but it's not a good one. He's like, like, listen, you got to take a moment on the floor right there and, like, and breathe. But, like, listen, we got to do this in the fetal position. But, like, and I believe in you, honey. I'm going to write you a nice write-up after this. But
after
go do it. Yeah.
That's a really good analogy, though, about being newly sober and having to do the thing that you fought so hard against in order to save the people around you. Yeah. And also good points about the Doctor. He really is coming into his own as a character. He does have a bedside manner. It's a bed at Motel 6, but it is a bedside manner.
It vibrates with a quarter.
So do I.
So, all things considered.
So things are in motion. Things are in motion, honey.
Interesting side note about going back to the dragon creature on the planet. Way back when Paramount decided they wanted to make The Next Generation, Gene Roddenberry originally said no. He didn't want to do it. He was like, it's too much work. I don't want to go back to that. so many headaches dealing with the studio, so I don't want to do it. So Paramount, being Paramount, said, fine, we'll do it without you. And they wrote a script that Gene read. And in the script, there was a dragon-like creature like this one on the planet. And when Gene read that, he said, oh, fine, I'll do it. And so it was a similar creature that was so poorly conceived that made Star Trek The Next Generation happen.
So they come out of the cave with the big worm, and then a volcano starts to erupt, and bitches just start scrambling, and then one primitive chick, maybe Miss Thing that just had her butt worked, is floating on a piece of rock in the lava, right?
Right.
Is
And
it, was that her?
Chakotay. Mm-hmm.
Was that the same girl that they tried to give to Chakotay?
I believe it was. And you
Well,
know
there
she
was a
like,
girl that screamed pointing to her, so
Like
I'm not
the
sure if that
mother.
was her or the mother of the girl. Yeah.
I think it's the same girl, and she sees Chakotay coming back, and she's like, "I knew I
Carry
had it
me.
like that."
Right.
She's like, honey, this booty better work.
Yeah, I was like, honey, I'm gonna give you some lava flow. Come and get
Honey,
it.
yeah, that lava flow was coming from her.
Yeah. It must have been Pride Weekend. You're right.
Yeah, honey, it was
So-
a heavy lava flow.
So Chakotay, although he can't start a fire apparently, and his people do not use bows and arrows. There was a little conversation with Tuvok earlier about that.
Right.
Yeah,
Chakotay and Tuvok's like, bitch, the bow and arrows for me.
the bow and arrows for me.
I teach Audrey, here, go have a bone. So Chakotay, brave Chakotay, possible baby daddy Chakotay, climbs up the rock somehow, down the rocks to save this chick, carries her over his shoulder like a bag of corn, and she lives. And so this brings peace to the primitive peoples and the Federation peoples. And they
Yes.
somehow communicate this.
This
They don't even need to communicate it, because one of the groups saved one of the other group, and they finally
Oh.
realize that, oh, these people are not our enemies. These
And
people
is
are
that
to
when the
help us.
chieftain gives some kind of herbs to baby Wildman
Right.
And saves Naomi.
with his primitive medicine?
Right.
Meanwhile, Paris had sent a message to the doctor that the doctor had to do something to the communications array or to the force
backup
field,
phaser power
the
coupling.
backup phaser power couplings. But mind you, at this point, Seska has come into the come into the medical bay and realized that the doctor's being shady, and she deactivates the doctor in a shady ass scene that the doctor is so unbothered. Like, he won't even look at her. He's like looking at a hypo spray. He's like, maybe I did, and maybe I didn't.
What about it?
I've had your people crawling through the bowels of the ship for hours looking for an intruder.
You're more talented in the art of deception than you led me to believe.
I was inspired by the presence of a master.
Goodbye, Doctor. I'd rather not take any more chances.
Yeah, what about it? And so she deactivates him, and he leaves a message for Souter. Now it's up to Souter to save the Enterprise and get this task
To
accomplished.
carry out Tom's instructions.
And he does. In doing so, he kills scores of Kazon. But finally is able to just about do it when a Kazon kills
Well,
him.
he didn't really kill.
No, he didn't really kill. Kills him, but in his last dying breath, he accomplishes the task. Therefore, sort of giving his life meaning again, and actually being of service and being useful. And the Talaxians and Tom Paris are able to take back Voyager.
I also just wanted to jump back to the Seska doctor, their last interaction together, because I think it is one of Bob Picardo's best line deliveries and best lines of the doctor when he's like, sticks and stones won't break my bones. So you can imagine how I feel about being called names.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Woo! Man.
Yeah, it's so good. But then
That was
Seska's
when
like,
his gay was showing.
yeah, and then Seska's like, really, hologram?
Right. Because they're both so savage.
Yeah.
They're both so savage.
And so Tom does, he does get, Maj Kala knows that the jig is up. He grabs his baby that he still believes is his baby, and they, get out of there.
Seska has
Does he believe that it's Chakotay's baby?
He thinks it's Chakotay's baby.
He thinks it's Chakotay's baby, but he's taking his baby.
Right.
It's his baby.
That's a really interesting question. Did Seska ever tell Majpala that?
I don't believe so. No.
I don't think so.
Interesting.
I think they would have made more of a thing about it.
And it's interesting how as soon as he sees that Seska is dead, that's when he's like, nope, just abandon ship because she was the brains.
Right.
Yep.
I could not have done any of this without her. Without her, we have zero chance, everybody. Let's just go.
Even against Talaxians and Tom Paris, they're like, let's book it.
Right.
Yeah, like
So
we have no shot now.
And he doesn't shed a tear over her. He just grabs the baby and takes his Kazon folk and they leave.
And I think that the inference is the very next time, because at some point that kid is going to catch a cold or something like that. He'll go to a Kazon doctor, and Kala will realize this is my child. I think it's his child anyway, but he'll realize this is my blood child.
Right. So in a way, it's a nice little way to tie it up. What I objected to was the way that they killed Seska. What a waste. So that's her last scene is she crawls into this room and just sort of dies. If the ship is getting so battered that she dies, how's the baby alive?
That's what I thought.
Right?
But you know what? I'm also thinking that in a way, it's trying to say that maybe Seska was doing everything to protect that baby. Maybe it was all yes, she was self-centered and she wanted power, but ultimately she was going to protect that baby.
Yeah, I know, but it should have been a confrontation. Janeway should have killed her. Chakotay should have killed her. Kala should have killed her. Somebody should have killed her.
Somebody.
Yeah, not just have her just sort of expire from the vapors.
It is interesting though that her last act isn't to try to try to win the battle or come up with some way, because Seska always has a plan within a plan that has a backup, and the backup has a backup. But when she knows her life is ending, she wants to go to her baby, which is, one of the most human things we've ever seen. Seska
it's kind of it's a tender moment. And I think, just jumping ahead just a little bit, that Tom goes and fetches the crew and they're back on Voyager. And there's actually another moment in the doctor's what would you call that? In sickbay, where they're having a little moment, and Chakotay is looking at Seska, and he's broken.
He fixes her hair.
He fixes her hair, and you suddenly realize, you know what? He loved her. He loved her. She was flawed. Maybe she was actually evil. Maybe he hated her for all the things she did. But in the end, when he saw her dead, the way he just kind of fixes her hair, the look on his face, it's tenderness. It's like he's broken by it. And I thought it was a beautiful moment for Chakotay.
I liked when Tuvok gave a Vulcan prayer to Souter.
Yeah.
I thought that was really sweet.
And once again, Tim Russ having to telegraph grief, but having to stay stoic and Vulcan.
Right.
And watch that performance. You can tell that Tuvok is like, dang, this sucks. He's like, why did it have to happen this way? Right. And it's very, and Leonard Nimoy was able to do this as well, where it was stoic and it was Vulcan, but if you just look at the eyes, there's emotion there, and he's grieving for Souter, as well as Chakotay is grieving for Seska. And I kind of think it's like, you know what? If you just watch this as 1-2 hour movie, it was kind of epic. It was good. Kind of epic, yeah.
And so three characters end up biting the dust: Hogan, Souter, and Seska. Dead. And
the Kazon gets it. Did anyone else find it strange that they let them go with the escape pods? In the last episode, Janeway was like, I'm going to blow up this whole thing because you cannot have any piece of our technology. But they're leaving in the escape pods, which must have replicators in them. They're going to, that's all Starfleet tech. And Tom is like, I'm too busy with other things to worry about that right now.
Yeah.
And it's like they made off with Federation tech. What did they do with that? You know, like maybe the Nistrum ended up conquering the other Kazon sects because they had this Federation tech.
Right.
Because after this, do they ever come across the Kazon again?
I don't think so.
I
don't think so. So they stay with that particular. I mean, you could chalk it up to the spoils of war,
Did the
collateral
replicators
damage.
do the escape pods have like a hot comb? I mean, is it that kind of technology?
Like 10 years later, they get back to the Delta Quadrant, and like they've all got fab hair.
Very share.
Like, what did we do to this?
Honey,
to these people?
They're like, you
What
can
about
call
the
us
Prime Directive?
Call us the Slazon, darling.
The sleigh's on now, honey.
Kablam.
Kablam. But so the Voyager crew is back on board. The Kazon are gone. 3 people are dead. And thus we have the beginning of season 3. I think the writers just wanted to move on from the Kazon and wrap all of it up.
As a whole, I really think the Kazon were just not an engaging enemy.
I think the Vidians were more interesting.
Yes, I agree.
I think the Vidians were the most interesting alien race that was created for Voyager. And I think with the Kazon, they were very conscious at that time of the fact that fans were saying, like, well, how are they still in Kazon space? Like they get through Borg space faster than they get through Kazon space. And so they were very conscious of the fact that they said, look, when we started this show, the plan was encounter new aliens all the way through. So I think they wanted to give it a very definitive end to the Kazon to say to the fans, okay, we're done with them now, and we're going to start introducing new alien races moving forward. It's just a shame that the Kazon and Seska was the only continuing story arc that, you know, for me, I loved. Every time Seska showed up, it was like, this is going to be a great episode.
So good.
She was the secret ingredient in the sauce.
Hello, everyone. What do you think of your son, Chakotay?
On the whole, I think as a kickoff to a new season and a wrap up of a cliffhanger episode, decent. I thought the first part of Basics was better, but you know, the first parts usually are. But I enjoyed it, and I'm going to give it 2.5 out of 5 fire Chakotays. And 2 of those are for Seska.
I think that this was, for a character like Chakotay, who did not get the attention or character development that he should have gotten. I mean, he's the first officer, and they really didn't do much with him. I felt like this was one of his best episodes, because it's interesting that you look at Starfleet people and they're explorers, and you know, they don't want to kill everything they see, they want to learn. And Chakotay is really the only character that I can think of who really embraces the idea of connecting with an alien species and doing it the right way. And like when, you know, they look at these scary guys, Tuvok is like, all right, let's get this weapons arsenal ready because we're gonna have to fight them. And Chakotay's like, hold up. And this is the Maquis who left Starfleet. He's like, hold up. Let's try to talk to them. Let's connect to them, you know, connect with them and share this world, because we may have to be here for the rest of our lives. And I think this kind of shows that part of his personality that is unique to him.
How many fire Chakotays do you give it, Dan?
I will give it 3 fire Chakotay. I do think they wrapped everything up quite well, surprisingly well, for only an hour, when they had all these storylines kind of dangling at the end of the other season. I think they did a really good job of wrapping it all up. It was just kind of disappointing that we had to say goodbye to Seska.
And what are you, Queens? What's your score, ladies?
I give it 3.
Tell us why.
Because I really mourned Souter as well. You know, I really wanted him to make it and to, you know, to overcome his violent tendencies. So it was kind of sad to see him go. And I like, of course, Tuvok's little touching Vulcan prayer goodbye to him. So yeah, I give it a strong 3.
Okay. Tang.
I also give it 3 Leola roots, 1 Leola root for Seska, 1 Leola root for Souter, and 1 Leola root for Robert Picardo.
But
not for Hogan.
no Leola root for Hogan?
No.
Wow, you're harsh, girl. All right, so all in all, a decent but not spectacular episode of Voyager. Well, listeners/viewers, if you're enjoying the content that we are putting out there, and also because we need to get a new hot comb, hit us up on Patreon or Venmo at Workshop, WERQSHOP, Workshop.
And if indeed you are enjoying the content, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon up on the right-hand side so that you will always receive our new content. And also, that's for YouTube. And rate us at least 5 and write a nice review. And if you don't like us, rate us at least a 5 and give us a nice review. Yeah.
Always give us 5 Leola root.
Yes.
And I want to say thanks again, Dan Deevy.
Yes.
Gaaays in Space. Tell us how people can find Gaaays in Space and get into what you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me again. I love chatting with you guys. It's the best Trek talk that I get outside of my boyfriend, who is also a Trekkie, obviously, so he gets top billing. But
I bet he does.
I almost went pigs in space for a second, but I thought inappropriate, Dan, inappropriate.
And kids, remember, we have a little contest going on where if you write a haiku using the word Akuchi Moya, you can win an Ensign Seska doll. So please slip into our DMs and do that.
Yes, and I'm just guessing somebody's going to rhyme Akuchi Moya with the boxer Oscar de la Hoya.
Right.
I think it's going to happen.
Like Akuchi
Or
Moya.
a box of Goya.
Exactly. You got there before me. Damn it. No.
Well, you have been listening to Fire Chakotay as we head into season 3. This is Mike Diamond.
This is Miss Matinga.
And this is Booby.
And I'm Dan Deevy from Gaaays
in Space. We'll catch you next time.
Ciao.